Welcome back to the Intel Esports Arena for North American Match Day number 15. You will notice a hole in the desk here at the Xfinity Analyst Desk. Right about there, that's exactly right. However, it is my pleasure to say that we do have a special guest tonight. And with that, I do believe it's just about time for us to take a look at that.
Janko YNK Paunovic is a 25-year-old Serbian. He has been involved with the professional Counter-Strike global offensive scene for more than 5 years. Like many others, Janko began playing CS 1.6 before transitioning into CSGO, joining iNation in 2013. He attended several major tournament qualifiers like the ESL Major Series 1 Fall 2013. Sadly, it wasn't in the cards for him to become a pro, and instead, he chose a different path. He stayed in the Counter-Strike environment and became an in-game observer in 2015. He traveled to various events, functioning much like a cameraman in sports. It didn't last long though, as he decided to fight for a spot behind a desk as an analyst instead. And after some hard work and dedication, he reached his goal and was hired as an expert for DreamHack Stockholm 2015. Ever since, Janko has claimed a spot as one of the top-tier analysts out there and travels the world thin, sharing his knowledge. He's also very candid and isn't afraid of telling people exactly what's on his mind.
Why is there not a rule that has, like, if it's over 150 ping, you have to forfeit the game? What's the point of playing this game for anyone? Who's gonna sit there and watch this game? Yeah, if you're watching this game, you're wasting your time. Do something else with your life.
I don't know what he's talking about.
He might not have made it as a professional CSGO player, but we should be thankful as we can now enjoy his excellent wisdom instead.
We are actually going to start with some actual weather. As you can see, Tuesday, tournament starts. We are going to have clear skies. The temperatures are apparently in Fahrenheit. I have no idea that is. I presume that it's going to be hot. On Wednesday and Thursday, actually, we have something that you don't see very often. We have a lot of thunder, but with a small detail, no rain because FaZe isn't here. Haha. Top banter. Back to you, Jason.
Jeez.
Top banter.
Top banter, top keks, all the lulls in the world could not contain this man to my left. The Serbian himself, Janko, is among us. You actually looking right behind me. It's a big. That was good.
So it's a very close-up picture, probably too close for my face trace. No one needs to see that.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. And then, of course, we have Vendetta, a regular, usual suspect here at the Xfinity Analyst Desk. Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Allow me to get back. We had to get Pimp out of here eventually. You know, it's becoming a bit of a hazard.
He was just getting a little too dicey,
yeah.
I believe is what it was. He was getting a little on edge. And with that, we're standing on the edge of looking at the schedule. Let's go ahead and chime that in right now and see what we have to look forward to today, Janko. What exactly is it?
We have all the big dogs playing Trace. We have SK Gaming, Cloud9, and Liquid. Unfortunately, they're not playing each other tonight. SK Gaming starts off facing against Ghost. Cloud9 versus Luminosity, and to end the night, Liquid versus Splice.
Liquid versus Splice, the one match to end them all for this week of Pro League. Let's take a look at the standings. The playoff race is on. Some teams are looking to secure their position in the playoffs, of course, Liquid being one of those. Take it away, guys, and what sticks out to you the most?
Can I just ask, you know, Janko, as someone who's been doing the EU part of this, does this make sense to you?
Yeah, Dignitas should never get a win.
No, well, I mean, outside of that. No, that's a given, right? That's
obviously, SK Gaming being as low as they are, with so many losses already, 5 and 9, you know, a couple of forfeits in there, unfortunately for them, with some of the decision-making they've had around the tournaments. But yeah, it is pretty wild here for you guys in NA. Cloud9 also 7 and 7. You do expect them to turn it up now and really make that final run for the playoffs.
Because we're getting close, and you don't want to be the team that's relying on some other team failing or succeeding for you to find a way into the playoffs. I think that's pretty much the worst case scenario.
Absolutely, you know, and some of these guys, even if it's like online CS and they're making roster changes, you know, you still need to be able to get some of those wins, even if things aren't optimal. You're not as coordinated as you would have liked to. You have been changing players, but for example, this should be a clear 2-0 for SK. Cloud9 going to have a bit of a tougher task.
Yeah, no, it's going to be. We've seen Luminosity pretty much throughout the season being able to steal maps off of expected favorites. I guess we saw them do it versus SK earlier in the season before they even made a roster change. So yeah, tough games coming up. I think the only clear 2-0 is Liquid in my head, just straight off the bat.
But we're going to get into that because, we did say Liquid Splice is our last match of the day. However, SK and Ghost will be what we kick it off with here. Both teams not having the prettiest of times here in the Pro League, and you wouldn't think to say that about SK Gaming, a team that is no stranger to the very tip-top of Counter-Strike.
Definitely, and even throughout their history, when it came to these online leagues, it was pretty much straightforward for them. One of the first teams always to qualify. Yes, they would lose a couple of silly maps along the way, even to underdog teams, but all in all, it would be mostly dominant. And now they find themselves in a position where they have very little room for mistakes coming towards the end of the season.
Speaking of those mistakes, the only way they can make those, of course, we need to take a look at the SK Gaming matchups to come, because this is what they have left. Ghost tonight, match day number 15, followed by Dignitas. Could be 2 wins here, or should be
Definitely
4 wins total, followed by Complexity and Renegades. And I mean, I don't know. They could maybe struggle towards the Renegade side again, or I don't know. Where do you guys see this one landing for SK?
I guess the good thing for them is that they're going to be playing Renegades the last out of all these matchups, so more time to actually practice with Stewie. That's going to be beneficial, but honestly, SK should be 2-0ing all of these teams on an average day.
Well, another problem is that's their last week. If that is the same, if the schedule is the same as Europe, that means that's the week after Marseille. So. Yeah. And they're playing Sydney as well, which is right after that. So are they going to go from Europe to NA for 3 days or 4 days or something, and then travel to Sydney from there? Or are they just going to stick in Europe, stay around in Europe, boot camp, and then go from Europe to Sydney? So if they do the latter, they have no more room for forfeits. They'll get disqualified. So they're going to have to play with high ping. So that's going to be an interesting one, I think, in the light of their situation in Pro League. I think they're going to have to make that trip back to NA and then play in normal conditions to secure a playoff spot.
You say that, but Renegades as well are going to Sydney, right? So they might be playing it in Australia?
Maybe. Them breaking up the trip has negative and positive impacts to it, right?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, regardless, you get back just enough time in LA to where, you might lose your mind if you get back on the plane for X amount of hours. I think it's a 16-hour flight the last time I took one from there.
Yeah, 15, 16.
Long time. Long time to be on one bird.
Especially in economy class.
Especially in the very back of the plane. And that is not a fun time for anyone. But, SK Gaming is a team that we've known to be a powerhouse. And, we've been talking about this all week. And I kind of need to ask you now that you're here amongst us North Americans, so to say. Sorry, just me.
I mean,
give or take a little
pretty
bit.
much.
North, but not American.
Not quite. How about Stewie 2K in this SK lineup?
Well, I personally don't like it. Not because I obviously think Stewie is a very skilled player, mechanically has good game sense as well. But for SK as a lineup, they've always talked about their system and how that's the most important thing, and they need players who are going to be able to fit that system. And that's why everyone thought Bolt's coming in is great. He's similar to FNX in his roles. Now they can go back to that, and that's why they had success for him at a couple of tournaments. But now you remove Taco, Stewie comes in. Even if you say, Boltz takes over Taco's roles, well, Stewie is not a player that can just take over Boltz's roles or Taco's in that sense. So I'm not saying that they won't be able to adjust. I'm just saying there's definitely going to adjustments are going to be necessary. And for SK, a team that, like Phelps was, he left or was removed from the roster, whatever, they won 5 out of the 7 tournaments, and that was still cause for them. They weren't unhappy with the dynamics within the team, and they still made a change. So I think that obviously through sheer skill and firepower, they will be able to, have deep runs at tournaments, maybe even win some tournaments, but I'm not really sure about consistency, and that's something that I guess only time is going to tell.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we talk about sheer firepower and consistency. This next lineup we're going to have to touch on here isn't one that we normally group into that same grouping of words. That's Ghost Gaming. Now, Halvor, what can we say about this Ghost Gaming lineup?
I mean, you can talk about consistency in the sense that they consistently have one player at least that shows up.
Right, Wardell.
Yeah,
that's true.
Outside of that, it's a bit more, out and about what we see from the various players. But Ghost has actually, for the last, I'd say, 2-3 weeks, been rather impressive. we were kind of expecting these guys to be a bit of a slaughter victim to pretty much any team that they went up against, considering how they did in the last season of Pro League, and obviously with the roster changes that came about and so on. But ever since they got VSA into that team, they've been playing much better Counter-Strike, actually to a brand where it's not just, it's not terrible to watch. You can actually find yourself enjoying a Ghost Gaming matchup, which is really nice. And honestly, they've had several bouts where they could have stolen more maps off of teams. But considering what they've been doing in the past, the last few weeks, I'd say, that's an A+ in my book compared to what I had expected.
Yeah, I remember I saw them this time last year for the first time in ECS when I was over in NA doing that. And also even then, Vordel was the obvious one, the obvious player standing out. I think he would have progressed by now. He would have been in a better team, but all that fuffing around that he
was
with,
for about 2 days.
Yeah, like joining Rogue, was it? And then like
for
going
a couple
back.
days and then
I think that really ruined his chances.
Leaves a stain.
Like for a short period of time, because it's just, well, we can't trust this guy to honor his commitment. Why would we want to bring him in an actual professional team? But I think eventually, seeing as also how the situation is a bit shaky when it comes to North American offers, really, and he is one of them up and coming, that he will sooner or later get his shot.
Yeah, he's too good really to be ignored for forever.
Well, him being too good is one thing, but the story of Ghost Gaming is a complete other. Let's go ahead and take a look at their past matchups throughout the duration of this season. I mean, for me, I don't know, maybe the Optic one sticks out the most.
I mean, Optic one, I think the Cloud9 one was also pretty interesting. Obviously, you can see where we started off, which is the 16-13 losses, 16-3 losses versus Renegades, and that just kind of, to us, solidified the kind of pre-approved stamp we had on the team, that they were going to be terrible and they're going to have a really rough time throughout the season. But ever since that week where they got the 2 victories versus Splice, they've gradually gotten better and better. And as we said, they've taken some pretty big scalps, demolished Optic in one map, which I think was Mirage, and obviously being able to take a map of Cloud9 as well is pretty impressive.
I feel, seeing recent results, their most impressive result has definitely been the overtime loss to NRG, because those guys seem to really be on fire at the moment, albeit online in North America. But yeah, jokes aside, a couple of really good results. Optic, Splice, Cloud9, even with the roster changes. I think, coming from a team that wasn't expected to get any wins, potentially against Dignitas or something along those lines, they've definitely made their mark in North American Pro League.
Well, the energy lineup is one thing. Oh man, they're the ones to look out for right now. Dare I say it right here live on the ESL Pro League. Which, of course, if you're watching us on Facebook, I'm going to encourage you to get involved in the conversation using hashtag ESL Pro League, and well, maybe say something you'd like to say to Yanko. Perhaps he's able to read it. You can tag him in it too.
I know how to read, Trace. Thank you.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
I will be able to read it.
Okay, well that's good to know. But what message would you give to that viewer before they even write to you?
Don't write me anything stupid. I just ignore you.
Fair enough. All right, how about this? SK Gaming versus Ghost on Mirage. Does it sound stupid?
I mean, it depends who you're a fan of, right? I guess, for SK, you're kind of worried regardless going into these matchups, because what we've seen out of SK with Stu has been, well, actually just bad. Again, growing pains are to be expected in this kind of a scenario, but even then, you talk about the system that SK has in place and everything, and, they were able to perform, at a major with Fox, for instance, being a stand-in and that kind of thing off of their system, and how they were able to make, I guess, the best out of the situation. That's not really been the case with Stu as of right now.
Spoke Portuguese, though.
Yeah, no, that does help.
So that's another big deal. Even though the English of the SK players has been improving tremendously, it's a whole different thing to, give an interview and to make call-outs fast in your second language, also learn all the spots, and most of the time you're probably going to talk in Portuguese anyway. Then it's up to Stewie to,
decipher.
So, yeah, exactly. It's not just about, you're not communicating directly to him, but at this level, just knowing what your teammates are saying in terms of, they called out a couple of smokes or flashes or something like that, will help you to make the best move on your side of the map.
Yeah, definitely does. And I guess this should still be enough just in terms of individual prowess to overcome a team like Ghost. I'm just more worried about the maps we're going to see. I think Mirage on there, that should be okay. Again, SK, you could play a very puggy style on a map like Mirage and still get away with it. And that's where your kind of individual advantage shines through. So barring some absolutely insane game from someone like Wardell, for instance, I think we should see an SK take a rather comfortable victory. I'm more worried when we get into the second map, which is going to be Train, because we got to see SK play Train as well, and it was
a little dirty yesterday.
Yeah, no, dirty's a nice way of putting it.
I was trying to be nice.
Good
I
guy.
usually am.
Yeah,
Sorry.
every now and again. Unless Pimp is here.
Unless Pimp's here, man, that guy's a firecracker. What are your thoughts on Pimp? Take it away, Yanko.
I think, the reason why I'm here, obviously, I know you had some wild speculation earlier, Trace, but actually it's a very nice reason for his absence. His sister is giving birth, so he's going to film the whole thing.
I was going to go with
Film
like,
the whole thing.
Yeah, someone needs to document it.
Yeah, man. Okay. Yeah, that's not something I would.
I thought we were going to the route of
Back to
like.
you here. You caught me. Speaking of in the studio, we did have some familiar faces just join us, and Jason and Carrie. I'm sorry, I had Harry and Carrot mixed up. It was a rabbit joke. I missed, or what do you think?
You're a big fan of the carrot jokes. I do eat a lot of carrots, and I would love if we could get some of them in here.
Some carrots.
I'm a big snacker. as well.
Perhaps. There's a chance. Either way, guys,
Any
you
more
guys know.
requests, Harry, before we start?
No, I'm pretty.
Yeah,
pretty
you did a
set.
phenomenal job of plugging that hole today.
You know me, Jason.
Yeah.
I do whatever it takes.
Loves to plug holes.
How about this? Why don't we plug it right in over to you guys and take it away? From
That's probably a really good idea. We will take it away. Yeah, what do you think? This is gonna be a fun one. SK playing again.
Yeah, they haven't looked that great. I'm gonna be, just like brutally honest there.
Okay.
I
Wasn't
think
that brutally honest. I
No.
want you to know that.
Yeah, I know.
Not great was kind of softening the blow.
that is actually very,
yeah,
very
that's,
soft.
That's
No,
not
yeah.
brutal.
I'm gonna sugarcoat that one. Then I'll be
Okay,
honest.
there we go.
I think since adding Stewie in, it's like to be expected that they're not going to just instantly kind of become this, like all the problems fixed, world-class team again. It's a very big change to make. Ghost, they looked better, like recently. The first few weeks were just terrible from them, and now they've really started to pick things up.
The difference between a team that can only go up and the one that can only go down.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah. I guess this is just going to be a work in progress as this team kind of goes, is monitoring where SK's trajectory is going to head. I think that communication is a big point. Obviously, we've touched on it a bunch, and the idea that they're not always going to be communicating in English, that there's going to be some things between players that's just naturally going to kind of slip out in Portuguese is a pretty good point. So, Ghost, nonetheless, they're still going to have their work cut out for them, but I mean, with the way that SK's been playing, it's not, outside the realm of possibility, which is kind of a wild concept that I think a lot of people are going to struggle to get their heads around, if I'm being honest. There's a lot of people being honest today, which is always good.
A lot of people are being honest today. Yeah. No, I
Nailed it.
Yeah.
You nailed it, Harry.
JC, I mean, the tiredness feels like maybe it's caught up with me a bit, but I'm sure, there's some wonderful people in this building. People such as Emil who would gladly make me a coffee if I ask.
Oh, so now you're just making
I'm just
requests
making
on
requests
air.
left and
Carrots,
right,
coffee.
I've got some room to be a diva now.
People think we're divas, and here you come, proving them all wrong. Pissed Around is live between SK and Ghost. Stanley pushing on Catwalk, a stack towards this B-bomb site for the defense. And actually, at the moment, it's looking like that could be very good. Although, Fallen is on the other side of the map with Bolts, who's in Palace. And it looks like they're setting up a fake, or looks like they're setting up what actually could be a hit if SK decides to go through Underpass, where Fur is kind of located. So making sure that avenue is open for them to rotate over. No indication yet. It actually, I mean, with the way this is set up with the utility on each side of the map, this could be a fake in essentially either direction still.
Yeah, they're leaving their options open. They're leaving their horizons broad. And they haven't really dedicated themselves too much anywhere just yet, as you said, leaving some room to maneuver. And they're going to go ahead and start to make their way back through T-spawn now. Looks like it is going to be something over towards this A-bomb site, just going all in. So they have two smokes. And, what we've seen teams opt to do more and more now is just go for the smoke down for jungle and stairs. And then leave CT open. That is, of course, where Seb is currently located. So they're going to have a duel if that is what they decide to do.
Here we go. Smoke going to be in Seb's face, and actually no fake thrown whatsoever. There's Stewie leading the way. No smoke towards top connector. They're just going to run right by it. Run the gauntlet, and Fur's going to pay the price for it. Down to 3 HP, gets shot in the head. Bomb does get planted. It's a 5-on-5 retake, and this is such a strong position for Stewie to have. Stanley gets dropped, jumping into the window. Room Wardell going to rotate through CT spawn. Stewie can hear all of this. 3 players for Ghost, and this is where they have to win the initial battle. Visa does have a kit, so they can speed things up, but they have to get to the bomb site first. Smoke is down, going to allow him some space to work with. Fallen going in for the knife. He has players even shooting at him, and he's going to get in there, and the diffuser's actually already dead, and Seb, he's the last one left. That is a wild round, and Fallen just went mad. And it's going to be the pistol round in SK's favor.
Yeah, he just You went in, you know, knife out, trying to shank a man to death. You know, fair enough. It's going to be the pistol I go the way of SK. I think this is one that, you know, I mean, like, seeing as we're all about honesty today, Jason, they've had some losses that they should not have had. Quite a few, as a matter of fact. You know, going 5-1, you know, losses to wins in their first day. That wasn't wins to losses, as you might expect. You know, I mean, the one win they got was versus Splice, and even that was a tight game, if you recall. You know, I think this is one that, if they don't win, then that is like, you know, that's kind of saying something at that point. You know, maybe this transition period is going to paint them in a very negative light for quite some time. But, I mean, this round isn't too fantastic for them. Fur's already been tagged out of 14 HP. He's kind of wounded, and he's limping around. Bomb plant will come in. But these Deagles, these deadly Deagles across all of Ghost have already been able to claim 2 lives, and they are lusting for even more there. Oh, big conga line comes on in out from the shop, and Fallen. He goes down as well. Suddenly it's just called Zera 1v3. They don't have armor, but they do have the numbers advantage, and this is a numbers game at the end of the day. Cold Zera in with a second. Sub Rose is going to win that out. I think there might be enough time left on the defuse as well.
Yeah, I think he's just going to have it. Oh, that is going to sting for SK as Sub Rosa. Yeah, he completes the defuse. What a big, big win. A big turn of events for Ghost Gaming as they tie things up in a blunder from SK. It looked like Cold Zera might be able to win out that 1 versus 3 stuck behind the pillar, but finding all the one-on-ones. Although with the plant, SK is going to be going right back into things, aren't they? Fur's going to have the AK. Cold Zera going to have an AK as well. CZ's on the rest of the players with utility, which makes you feel like that front line, those pistols, going to be very fast and very aggressive. Try and cause some kind of confusion in the defense to create space for the AK-47s and see what happens from there. Cold Zera, though, over-eager, eats a nade. Down to 66. Makes him very much softened up for these M4. 1 dink and he's gone. Seb is risking a lot playing behind this smoke spam, and he's going to check for Cold Zera, and there it is. There is that immediate dink. AK on the ground. Bolts is going to pick that up, so no great loss, just the player. Seb sticking around, and he's got to be very careful. Bolts is going to be able to trade that off. Seb just never backed away, and now Sub Rosa on top of stairs. He's got to do something. Flashes out, and he's going to just take a step back, make sure he can secure mid, and wait for his teammates to arrive.
Yeah, still trickling on in. Rotations have come through from the rest of Ghost, and Bolts is up top. Tetris didn't spot anyone else. Bomb plant looks to come through. Back and Stewie gets caught out in the open. It's Stanley. He's going to be able to pick that frag up. So Ghost are looking good in the retake. They've spotted out Fur, and he's going to go ahead and eat that shot in from, I believe that was Visa. They're all over the bomb site. Ghost are everywhere, and Fur's now fallen. Bolt's going to go peeking out. He's able to find the first, but the bomb's not planted for them. They're just able to stick it. This is a disaster from SK. That is a massive blunder in communication from them there. Bolts goes peeking out, expecting to be able to keep an eye on the bomb, and it's planted for CT. Yeah, 2 rounds now that they've had fallen down to some blunders in the way they've played, so that's not ideal. And again, those come down, just to reiterate, if you go back towards the communication issues that they talked about at the desk, we talked about it a bunch yesterday as well. Those kinds of mistakes for SK are chalked up to those kind of communication and fundamentals. 1 to 2 on this T side of Mirage. Will be interesting to see, because we've seen SK, we could talk about it during the technical timeout, we've seen them a number of times be pretty risky early on with their economy in different situations. Saw it yesterday on Train. They're more than willing to buy up into these rounds, and you know, on one side you're like, fair play, we've seen them win plenty of them, we've seen it work out positively, so it's not all doom and gloom, but lately they've been losing a lot, and that's put them in a bunch of holes early on, and it could happen again here if they decide to rebuy moving forward. I've just been informed there's a headset issue. Not sure with what team, but
headset issue.
Oh, it's with Ghost. There you go.
Ah.
So you know, the old headsets always causing problems. It was casted with Henry earlier. He got very tilted by the fact that everything seems to break during a pro game, insisting that he's never had anything break whenever he's done anything before. And so how does it happen to these people so often?
You know, at some level, I could side with Henry on this one. I don't recall ever having to. Yeah, I don't remember anything like a headset or like a mouse breaking or anything like that.
Well, the one that got him earlier was the TeamSpeak went down 3 times in an NIP game.
Oh, I've had those issues before, but that was like back in the day. You know, that was like early
exactly
on. That was
right.
Back on Mumble.
You imagine like server hosting's at a point now where it's pretty damn good. You know.
Yeah, but you can't fault them. If it happens, it happens, right?
That's true. You know, Henry can be a little salty about it.
Careful, he could be listening.
Probably is. You know, he's a big fan of CS. He probably has this on back in the hotel.
He just hasn't gotten enough of it yet. Back into the game, and yeah, you could see, well, actually, no, excuse me, that's the, did I just see an M4 on someone's back? Maybe, maybe not. Pistols abound for SK. CZ, P250. Mordell's gonna have that AWP in his hands, over towards Catwalk. Seems we've, someone dropped from the server. That might have been the issue. So Fallen is currently over on the CT side, which is a bit confusing if you're looking at the overlay, but that'll get fixed up, I'm sure, into the next round.
Yeah, we've had some surprising NA roster shuffles. This is the one that's caught everyone off guard.
We thought they were all over, but this has gotten weird.
Fallen to Ghost. Yeah, what a move. Well, the thing that I'm loving right now, Visa using the M4A1S, feels like it's been ages since I've actually even seen that gun in a pro game. But they're ready to head on in. There we go. The HUD's all nice and fixed.
Nice. Yeah, I was going to say, there is an M4 on Fallen. All right. That's what I was wondering, because I did see it in spawn on his back from when he saved it in the previous round, so he still got that weapon, but this is SK. I mean, they've just kind of set up in a very, very condensed default now, just grouping up over towards the B bomb site. There's 2 players here by Fan, by the bomb site, and actually Wardell's going to be able to spin around very quickly with that AWP, so essentially a 3-man defense here, and there's the opening kill. Stewie goes down, didn't even see it coming. Good frag from Stanley. He's got to build upon that, and Bolts is going to get sprayed down, and Subrosa now even here to get involved in the action, and it's all over. Falling in a 1-on-3. Can he pull off something miraculous?
Yeah, back against the wall, and he's going to go and fake that bomb plant out. That spurs the peek in from Subrosa, but Subrosa finds the shot anyway. So, nice attempt from Fallen, but 1v3 with Ghost knocking on his door, just not meant to be. And just like that, buys would have come back in for SK anyway. Let's not forget, that was only the partial buy around the M4 that Fallen had carried forward from the previous round. And Ghost, they have 3 players survive, so they rebuy on a couple, but they've started to build up a tiny bit of money here on Stanley, Subrosa, and Wardell.
Not a bad buy from SK, though, all things considered. Fallen wants to go for a challenge early on. He's up on top. Molotov going to force him away, though. Not sure if Stanley actually spotted that in a deep smoke from the CT side. It's going to give the illusion of the potential of aggression that SK's got to be wary of when it does clear. They have a lot of players in these B holes. One just watching for a push up towards mid. One watching underpass. And actually, did he just jump out a window? First watching for that. Didn't come all the way out. Fallen. Some utility being used, so it looks like perhaps mid control coming in. That's at the base of Catwalk. And coldzera might use the opportunity to jump across. Ooh, a run boost, actually.
Yeah, I love to see these. But no one keeping an eye on mid. You love to see them when they work. They're always so exciting. There was that one from Katowice recently with Guardian on that run boost where he got the collateral. That was a wonderful thing to see.
That was a bit silly. You don't get those every day, but yeah, it certainly was pretty epic.
Yeah, it's a nice mechanic as well. Just kind of great to catch players off guard. And here's SK looking to do exactly that. They're down in connector. And Ghost don't really have any idea as to what exactly is going on. No one's got information over on mid, but Subrosa and Seb, they forced the issue down through ramp. In the meantime, only keeping an eye on short force. Going to clear out ramp. He's taken 1. Will he expect there to be a second? No. Seb's able to trade. Doesn't take any damage in the engagement. Keeps things even. 4-on-4. Fallen almost gets caught rotating out from connector. But coldzera behead Stanley. Keeps them in this. And a second. He's got to just claim lives left and right. Seb's in for a second, and that's it. He gets cut out of the round as well, and now it is just Wardell. The man we so often talk about kind of being the hero of this team, but this would be a ridiculously heroic play if he's able to pull this off. He's just going to go ahead and save instead.
I want to see coldzera's POV, because that's an incredible double kill to get. He's out in the open, he's on the bench right against the wall, and there's nowhere to go. When you get in those fights in that position, you just know you just have to fight to the death, because you're not getting out of it. You either win or you die, and he actually gets 2 headshots immediately while taking damage, while being shot at. So really incredible stuff. coldzera pulling off that round for SK. A couple different moments where he could have gotten caught off guard, where Fallen could have gotten caught in connector as well. So that thread won on a knife's edge, and really tough timing for Ghost Gaming. The moment they choose to push down that A ramp is when SK is just kind of walking up connector and all the defense is evacuated. So when they watch this back, that one will be tough to swallow.
Yeah, you imagine it would be, but for Cold Zera, he's keen to go ahead and replicate this even more. He's all the way down through mid. Oh my, how's he gotten so deep into enemy lines already? He's all the way up in ladder room, and no one's even spotted this play in just yet from him. And that allows him to find Sabrosa nice and easy. And now Visa, it's kind of been left up to him. Ooh, Cold Zera. Oh my goodness, what is going on? 2 big kills from him. He's not done just yet. I'm going to keep going in. I thought it was him who got the kill in the connector, but I think it was the HUD just lagging behind a bit.
Yeah, it was Fur who actually got that one, but he was peeking and he was ready to get that as well. It was either going to be Fur getting the kill or him getting the frag. Regardless of what happened, one of them was going to find it. Follow up on Catwalk, very nice. Wardell left alone again as SK Gaming. That kind of pace that Cold Zera has really throws him for a loop. Couldn't slow it down. Molotov in towards window on the run. And this is going to be the reset. This is going to be the money all gone for Ghost. SK with the chance to gain the lead. After winning the pistol and dropping the second round, they're going to be pleased to get the momentum right back in their favor. Good stuff, Harry. Really good stuff.
Yeah, I always like it when you say my name as well, Jason. I'm just a big fan of that, you know? It sounds... Oh, there we go. It sounds so American coming from your mouth. It's good.
Okay.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of...
What is the British pronunciation of your name?
Just pretty much the same, but not as
right.
not as nice.
Okay.
Brits is just quite harsh, aren't they, with how they like to say words?
I don't know. You guys have a leg up on the commentary field. I feel everyone likes to hear a British accent.
I don't know. See, I think this is like a big debate, really, isn't it? Because a lot of people are quite... I feel like Canadians are very, very popular. Yeah, people like an old Canada every once in a while.
Only one Canadian commentator, though. Well,
yeah, but like there's...
You know, Scrawny's coming up.
Exactly, right? He's there. You know, there's...
Count the British commentators we've got.
Like, I don't know, how many have we got? There's me, Henry, Alex can do it.
Alex is British. Richard. Duncan.
Well, I guess you're right
You're
there.
all
I
over
guess
the
we do
place.
kind of own the field in that regard.
And they've got
Shame
that-
our CS scene is just a dead meme.
Yeah,
Really.
it's crap, isn't it? Don't worry. we've all been there before.
Yeah.
I am so confused about what's happening. Why is Fallen alone with the bomb at the A bomb site while the rest of his team is over at B? Everyone's here from Ghost. I mean, I'm a little bit lost for words. It's going to work out in their favor, but that has got to be one of the weirdest ways to win a round I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I really don't know what we just saw. It was one that could have very quickly gone wrong, you feel like. Had Fallen died there, and then someone just stuck the defuse, that round would have gone the way of Ghost.
Yeah.
Because there was no one nearby for SK. So they're quite fortunate, really, in the fact that Ghost took a long time to kind of piece together what exactly was going on. Into this round, though. Going to be partial buy-in from Ghost. The thing that I'm just still not used to with this whole Stewie change being brought in is, the thing that I'm not entirely convinced on, is like, it still almost feels like, what would almost happen is it's like, you know, when you play with like a stand-in, right, that they're going to prioritize the 4 like native speakers in the heat of things, you would imagine, right? Like it's going to be very, very difficult when you've been used to calling in Portuguese your entire career to suddenly have to like make these snappy calls in English. Like it's...
Yeah, no, it's exactly what Yanko said, right? Is when they are just calling out. Actually, held the thought because it is a 3-on-3 now, and they are pressuring for this. I don't think they're going to be able to win. There's no kit, but they're causing a lot of damage actually to SK, and they have a chance to take one more weapon away inside the bomb site. That's bolts. So Rosa may decide to try and pin him down. This has been as good as possibly could be, I guess, for a Ghost, and that'll be it. I don't think Sabrosa, he might be able to salvage a weapon if the blast blew one in his direction, and that's not the case. So yeah, he's gonna have to buy up to his sadness. But yeah, it is kind of in those, you know, when you just have like some kind of piece of information that's not like critically important, but just can help out. Likely, like the first thing you say is you slip it out in Portuguese, and then Stewie's just like, what? No, I expect that to change a little bit. I imagine Stewie will kind of learn, you know, numbers and you know, the words for like smoke and everything, like footsteps or players or whatever it might be.
Well, yeah, because I mean, he is like within the team, he is like that minority, the only one player, and they're all having to kind of learn to speak his language. You know, like there is going to be that disparity there.
It'll be a middle ground that they'll be comfortable with. It'll just take some time. Remember that's a story for maybe an eco round. We'll hold that thought. 4-on-5 as Ghosts have been getting a little bit battered. A double save or a full save and a half buy in these past 2 rounds, and they lose Wardell with that AWP to a mid push. He goes for some aggression, and Fallen was loving that. Oh, here comes that mid-round push again for Ghost, but they're set up perfectly to stop this. There's one kill. They spot the second. Bolts is going to get aggressive out towards Palace to try and punish this. Visa's got to be careful with his positioning as well, because depending on when Bolts peeks out, he might be available for the picking. And Subroza peering over the top of the smoke, but again, Fur might... Ooh, when will they see each other? That's the timer on this. When does Subroza start to back away? Because the smoke is going to fade awkwardly. And there it is. Fur does find him right in the side of the head. Visa now peeking out as well. He's caught out in the open. Wanted that kill, but not going to get it. Stanley's here, but they're in a 2-on-5, and they might want to think about just backing away slowly. Not a great chance for them to win this round, but they do want to fight.
Visa's gone in swinging. He's left it all onto Stanley. Oh, manly Stanley won't be able to stand long. As he's dealt with by Fur. SK getting up 6-3. And they've started to chip away as well at this Ghost economy. They can kind of, get one more buy together here. But after that, they will be looking at an eco. And this is good for SK. Starting to string together some rounds. They'll be feeling fantastic about that. I think they're looking for a clean win here because they've been tested a lot with their online performances these last few days.
Yeah, right. I think they probably want to start winning some easy matches as well. Not used to this level of a fight in the North American scene, and as we said yesterday, as we talked about, they really have by going 1-1 against Optic last evening, really hurt their chances of being able to make the Pro League playoffs. 6-3, SK doubling up on Ghost's score. And this has been, I mean, you can kind of tell, if you want to see the difference, of SK of having this kind of new rush that they're kind of having some issues learning how to communicate with. Almost a pick off by Fallen. These have been very basic tactics on the T side. It almost looks like they're just playing the most basic kind of set ways just to kind of focus on that kind of communication, not run anything too complex while they try and figure it out. Fallen with the opening pick, and Fur's able to build on it, but Visa is doing some work. Runs out of bullets, only 20 in the M4A1, but Subroza is here as well. It's a 2-on-3. Fallen's got the perch with the op, and Fur doesn't want to plant it quite yet. They want to get one more pick, and they found it. Now Fallen can cover his teammate. It's going to be Seb and Market, and Subroza coming in for the flank in a 2-on-2.
And now Fur is tagged down low. They've been given a little bit more time. Quite gracious there from SK to afford Ghost those extra few seconds by faking out the bomb plant. Fallen's hopped down into the site now. Subroza on this flank. Timing kind of makes all the difference for him. Fallen keeping an eye on short. Fur is one shot away from going down to any of these guns that Ghost have. Seb gonna flash over. Fallen doesn't stand a test of time, and Seb gonna get caught looking away. Not Seb, sorry. Fur gonna get caught looking away as Seb finds him. That is Ghost in with their 4th round. And good recovery in the retake. It was looking like it could have eluded them there for a minute, but nice shot from Subroza gave them the opportunity to lock in that 4th.
What gave him the big opportunity, actually, is I think that smoke didn't land exactly where Fallen wanted. There was a small gap that he was able to look over on that flank and be able to find Fallen pretty easily in the back, but it's okay. They get a plant SK, they get that extra money, they have plenty built up, and then on top of that, with 3 kills, they're keeping the money low for Ghost, although the op is salvaged and pushed over towards Wardell, who doesn't have to invest in that kind of expensive weapon. Small benefit for the defense, and Stewie just waiting for any nades that are going to come out before he moves up behind this smoke. Again, it looks like Seb and Subroza want to set up for an early push for information down this ramp when the smoke clears. Got 2 of perhaps the most aggressive players in the scene waiting for him on the other side, and Fur again right through is going to find it, and here comes the explosion, the contact play. Subroza forced out, and it's Bolts coming out of Palace, and he's so very alone. 1 kill, but can get nothing more. Complete slaughter for SK in a reset round, and they're going to hunt. They have got plenty of money. They're going to try and take this M4 away from Stanley.
Yeah, they have Ghost Gaming's number, it feels like, right now. Moving on to a 7th round here. Although I think one thing that's important to recall is SK, it did feel like yesterday they were really quite, they were struggling, at least over on those CT sides, if you remember.
Yeah, was it Wardell that was like the one getting like a triple and a quad kill in the only rounds they were winning on the CT side, or was that a different team?
No, that's also true for Ghost. Yeah, that was Wardell. I think it was. I'm trying to think who that was up against. Or actually, no, that might have been Mitch for Splice. I think we saw that happen the other day as well. I know we've seen a lot where the AWPers have to get 3 or 4 kills.
We have seen that, haven't we? There are a couple teams that really, in the North American scene, that are pretty dependent. This might be a good chance, the anti-eco, to go back to my little story or anecdote that I was going to go into earlier. My brother was actually in this situation early on in Counter-Strike. That kind of Stewie's in, where he got there was a German team, it was Mouse Sports at the time, at a tournament that was based out of China. It was, I almost forget what it's called. I want to say WESG. No, that's not what it is. That's a modern one. Forget what they're called. Something along those lines. And he had to actually go over to China to play as the only American in a German team. And he used to send me pictures. He'd have note cards of all the different words in German that he'd be able to pick out because he obviously couldn't understand anything. So he just had to like learn, you know, bomb site A, bomb site B, you know, banana, different parts on the maps, you know, high train, low train, all these different kinds of things, and just like, had to like rack his brain to study before all their matches, just so he could pick up like one important critical piece of information. That's my story.
Yeah, no, that's a very good story, Jason. You've been saving that one.
Yeah.
This is like the perfect opportunity to use it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have to imagine like it would be a very awkward situation to be in, right? Because you can't kind of demand that everyone just bends to your will, you know, you learn my language. So, yeah, I mean, you kind of imagine that's the middle ground that Stewie's going to have to face, seeing as his is, you know, more of a long-term thing.
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about, they'll figure it out eventually. It's just going to take some time. So, growing pains for sure as we watch them kind of move forward with this new roster. Great frag from coldzera. Headshots are the universal language, though. And SK is going to secure an 8th round on this T side.
I also kind of think that that's why it's quite unfair when you look at this like transfer. I think people thinking, you know, like already these results that we've seen are so indicative of how this SK roster is going to pan out. Like, expecting to add Stewie in, and then it's like suddenly SK are meant to, you know, they were already a world-class team, you know, and it's like to make like any sort of massive noticeable jump is going to be something that takes a while, right? And people kind of like Pimp, I think yesterday was saying how they're not going through a honeymoon period like most teams do right away. But I think this is different, you know. It's not like it's you've added like, I don't know, one Swede to an already Swedish roster or something along those lines, you know. Like, it is a whole different dynamic here for SK.
There's always going to be an element of overreaction in all directions. At the moment, SK handling business. coldzera with another kill. Ooh, and the follow-up. Nicely done. Visa and Seb out of the fight, and it's just Sub Rosa very quickly. SK's pretty much had mid-control whenever they've wanted it in this game, whether it's fast, whether it's slow. There's been too many rounds where Ghost has been able to hold them off, trying to show the peek and tap away. Sub Rosa is going to get dropped. 2 kills for Fur, 2 kills for coldzera, and the money has really ballooned on this SK side. 2 players at 13,000 or above, 2 players just below 10,000, falling at 12,000. They are perfect for the rest of this game.
Yeah, money is seriously not a problem. 9-4, and SK looking good. AWP up on Wardell as he looks to try and secure something here. Now, he's normally the one we kind of talk about, but no one really from Ghost actually having too good a time of things just yet. And well, Wardell, he's down in CT. It feels like he's always kind of been a bit isolated from where the action takes place. Yeah, if you remember, originally he was actually playing over on that B bomb site. Since then, they've pulled him over here towards A. He's about to have bolts and Fallen come his way. Has support from Seb up close on ramp. Stewie, in the meantime, is going to be clearing out a path. Just carving one out in this B bomb site over in apartments. He does just go ahead and give it up as the smoke sends him back. And Fallen, who wins this fight? Wardell versus Fallen, a rivalry that it doesn't go back very far. But here is Fallen peeking it. Oh, he spotted the head, and just like that, Wardell's gone down.
What a scumbag. Wardell's going to be so angry. Oh, and Seb's going to get flushed out as well. He's all gone, especially as Fur was helping out from top connector. This is beautiful from SK. Again, that mid-control coming back to bite Ghost as they're not able to stop it, and there's just too many angles for them to defend. Sabro was almost dead. He has the op, but he can't do anything, and they need to back away. They need to have these guns for the next round because they have no money.
That's kind of heartbreaking, yeah. Sabroza, you know, throw enough bullets at the man, and one of them's bound to hit. A nice PG version of the original saying. Just Stanley left alive once again to try and save 1v5. And this is disastrous for Ghost because, I mean, it's not even really worth taking into account the money, but it is just like SK are in such a good place in this game now. 10-4 up. And even if everyone died here, they're still Still more than set to get anything into this next round, the last of the half. No such story for Ghost. Their economic woes have been, well, just kind of terrible throughout this entire first half. Of course, they're able to secure the force buy, if you remember. It was that nice deco victory that then led them to 3 of these rounds. And since then, they've only got 1 round on the rifles. Which
it's not been great. Yeah, I mean, this half is, I mean, it's hard to say it's more dominant than it looks because, I mean, SK haven't really had trouble for quite some time, but certainly this could be an even harsher blowout if SK doesn't lose that second round. So at least Ghost has a kind of window to work with here of 4 rounds, but it's on the easier side, or the quote-unquote easier side, so this could be tough. SK looking good, and actually, I mean, when you switch over to the CT side, this is where that's kind of the side of the map where communication issues can be more apparent. Obviously, I mentioned earlier that, you know, SK on the T side running a pretty basic offense here. A lot of being grouped up, a lot of just executes, a lot of just slow pace, kind of make sure you don't get punished by aggression and then hit a bomb site. Doing it again here with so many players. That's a very nice nade. Fur brought down to about half HP, just above it. Same with Stewie, both at 60. And Fur's going to lead the way out. He doesn't care about his HP. He's going to keep moving forward, going to wrap around the bomb site. And there's coldzera finding Visa, and the round essentially over at this point. It's a 5-on-3. So Rosa doing his best to claw him back into it, but the bomb is planted, and actually Bolts is watching this flank. So Seb's going to have no real chance to get involved. His teammates are waiting for him, but he's going to be a free kill.
now it's just Sabrosa and Wardell, a scout and a Famus. Walking to the B-bomb site. Sounds like the beginning to a bad joke, and actually that's kind of what it... Ooh, never mind. Sabrosa back with 2. Goes for the scout in that scenario. I think hoping he was going to grab something a bit more substantial. And that's going to be an 11th round for SK. They're feeling good at feeling fresh and fancy as we head into this second half. You know, you kind of look at that scoreline. 11-4 might not seem like it's that bad from Ghost, especially versus SK, but then you realize, you know, had they not been able to win that 1 anti-eco and then, you know, win the force buy and then win the 2 anti-ecos, it would have been, could have very easily been a 14-1,
maybe 13-2. Yeah, I mean, this could have been much worse. I think you still say it's bad for Ghost Gaming, but I mean, you kind of understand it, right? It's not like if a team, if like an Optic did like a 4-11 half, right? You kind of expect more from Optic. For Ghost, I think we kind of expect this, with the caveat that SK hasn't been playing great recently. But obviously, it's nice to see SK kind of, you know, even just early returns on the 3 days that this lineup has been together, looking obviously better than what we saw on day 1.
Yeah, and you know, for Ghost, not really anyone kind of stepping up to answer the call. One man has answered the call of nature. Wardell has quickly gone to the toilet. That's why we've got a little bit of a delay here.
Listen, playing against the Brazilians has made plenty of people have to crap their pants. So we'll just wait for him to come back.
I like that. That's good. That's a nice build out of the second half. Yeah, it has been a very good performance from SK right now. One that I think, you know, most people are going to be relieved with, because you know, there was a chance they could have come into this how they have looked throughout the rest of this week. You know, looked a little bit down, a little bit kind of not themselves, and they haven't. They've come into this one swinging, and already it looks like they're kind of poised to take this one away. Pissed around will be a must here for Ghost. I always hate saying it because it's like, it's important anyway, but it is a must for Ghost Gaming if they want to have any chance at hauling a comeback.
Harry, unless they win the second round.
Yeah, or they do that again. That'd be good.
Well, here we go. Live into the second half. It's Ghost on the T side. They're just going to do a straight up A hit. Nothing crazy, nothing too fancy. 2 smokes, 3 flashes. Smokes are thrown now, so the rotations are going to start coming in from SK. You see all those blue dots, and Stewie wanted to get aggressive, but a bit too slow. He might have had a chance to get the angle. Fallen wants to find 1 or 2. They've got to kind of thin the herd before this plant goes down. coldzera watching for the cross right inside the edge of the smoke, and Sabrosa comes back to find him. Tricky fight with the smoke. You never know how clear the vision was for each of the players, and Bolts has to be very wary of top of the stairs and the flank coming in as well. But there's 2 players in CT spawn, 1 player in the cubby. Fallen's got to clear that out at 7. He spots the shoulder, now looks for the reaction as Seb saw it coming. 1 in the back of the bomb site. He's going to peek out. Wardell finds Fur, and that might just be it. Fallen still has a kit, so there's some time, but all the frags go the way of Ghost. So you mentioned it was necessary, and it's going to go the way of Ghost Gaming.
Yeah, that pissed around probably a far cry from what SK wanted. They weren't able to cull the herd as Ghost made their way in. The pissed around, they're going to be going the way of Ghost Gaming. And that is all good. Now they can start to pave their path to the comeback. And yeah, they've gone for a couple of SMGs to make some money. SK force buying into this round. Can they pull a ghost and win this second round to suddenly flip this on its head?
This is a rare change from what we saw yesterday. Fallen's actually pretty much full saving. He bought a P250, but nothing else. So yesterday we saw him buying some scouts. We saw him at times buying CZ armor. This time he wants that op out as early as possible. Maybe he feels he was just such a force that in the first half that he'll be able to out op Wardell, who is trying to be sneaky around this smoke. Bolts and Fur, kind of a mini crossfire setup, and even Coldzera's here. Ghost has to be careful they don't lose too many players in this fight. Wardell not committing past his smoke, but Coldzera has an angle with the Deagle. Not able to get the tag. That might actually scare him away. They've spotted 2 players at this B bomb site, want nothing to do with it. Getting tagged up just a little bit. And now Ghost starts to creep towards the other side of the map, and I think pretty soon SK will figure that out as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can already see Coldzera, the man who had rotated into B to help out. He's gone ahead and taken a peek out now into window. Lost Fur in B, but the bomb still heads towards that A bomb site regardless. It's just trundling along up through Palace. Stewie going to come with some mid-aggression. Stanley's there, and Stanley to win that fight. That's quite crucial. Now they can pincer it up through connector. Fallen, well, he doesn't last long. Visa's going to go ahead and take his head off. Coldzera does what he can with the Deeg. It's only 1. And Bolts, well, I think it was him who was... no, never mind. He's all good. I was going to say, I thought it was him who was spamming away with the CZ earlier, so he probably didn't have much ammo, but no, he's hasn't fired a bullet yet.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's just fine.
Kind of just as devastating, though.
Did seem like SK was kind of getting the read of what was coming, but just players lost to aggression. Fur and Stewie. Fur was pushing up B, Stewie obviously pushing up middle, and both get taken out with no real fight at them, getting no kills. So 11-6 as Ghost continues. Able to safely navigate through this second round of the second half, and they're starting to close the gap, and maybe just at first that initial gun round win could all of a sudden make this a game.
It most definitely could, Jason.
It'd be so weird. It'd be so weird.
I mean, there's no denying that SK haven't looked very good on their CT sides, and Ghost, you know, they're doing all right thus far. I have to agree. I mean, if they managed to win that first rifle round, that would be massive from them. They only managed to get 1 in the first half. And, you know, what a round it would be if they're able to pull it off here in the second. This time, just going to be pistols, vanilla pistols for SK. Bolts has that 1 CZ and armor carried forward. But already, SK are just being swatted down. Coldzera is able to get 1 with this CZ. Maybe that repels this offensive from Ghost from the A bomb, so maybe it scares them away. Because they have now spotted 3 players here. Yeah, he's dinked down Seb. That's going to send them away from A and over towards B.
Bolts gets 1 kill. We're going to try and build on that, but no armor and an SMG in his face is going to prevent things. So 11-8, here we go. Or 11-7, excuse me. I can do math. It always updates before I think it does. I don't know why. Haven't gotten used to that yet. Op out on Fallen, no utility though, and even Fur's going to be, I mean, everyone on SK actually, a bit sparse in the nade department, which isn't the, these are all highly skilled individuals, so they're going to be fine just taking fights, but definitely the advantage for Ghost. You can see 5 Molotovs, 5 smokes to start the round. SK is going to have to be more disciplined with theirs. And that op on Fallen over at the A bomb site, which allows 3 players from SK to set up kind of a triangle in middle, and actually Stewie's starting to push up. He's got to be careful. This is exactly what Wardell is watching for with that AWP. He would love a peek, but it's not going to come out. Coldzera and Stewie setting up an all too familiar crossfire. Looks like a lot of pressure is going to be put on Fallen into this round. There's a smoke being thrown out towards mid, but Stewie's presence there is kind of going to let him know there's nothing, and he walks right into the op, and a missed shot from Wardell. Ooh, he's going to be upset about that, and all that's left now is for Ghost. They want Sub Rosa to be a lurker, and I think they do, because they're starting to hit towards the same bomb site. Fallen's going to go down. That nade is certainly going to blow him up, and it does, down to 2 HP, but Stewie and Fur respond over towards the B bomb site. The lurk from Sub Rosa does nothing, and it's all SK, even though Fallen has died. The op is going to be picked up at the end of the round by Coldzera. Very well played from SK.
Yeah, big round to return as well, because you mentioned if Ghost try to find that rifle round there, suddenly SK, their economy's down, and the comeback does look very, very possible. Now, with a force actually coming in from Ghost, they have the AWP up on Wardell. They can get rifles on 3 of these players. Tactical timeout coming in for SK, which you kind of like to see. There was a bit of an absence of them in the first few days, but now having some time to kind of try and make sure everyone's on the same page here. They understand the importance of this round because, of course, if they win it, they reset that Ghost Gaming economy. A 13-7 scoreline, Ghost having to take an eco there, that would be devastating.
And I think there's nothing more important to SK right now than being able to close games out quicker. We've seen them struggle with it in these first 3 days of the lineup, and obviously that's another aspect of their game that will improve, but you don't want to be playing, you don't want to make it harder on yourself as a new lineup as when you just can't close these out and it just gets so exhausting. Great chance to do it as well. No nades on Visa. UMP on Sub Rosa just so he can have nades. So some weaker elements of this attack. Still the op on Wardell though. And it's slow pace to start from Ghost Gaming, although they have 2 players now completely void of nades.
Yeah, Wardell is creeping over towards apartments. Yeah, it's got Bolts there. Bolts, I think, is jump peeking for the information, so chance for Wardell maybe to try and find something in this player. Goes for the wall bank, doesn't manage to connect it. Now we'll start to back away. That nade actually chunks Wardell down quite considerably, all things considered. And see, for Ghost, I mean, 50 seconds, they've used a little bit of their rather limited pool of utility, and they haven't really gained too much for it. Now, with 45 seconds on the clock, they look to try and make something happen over here in mid. Start to creep on down, but Stewie does lie in wait inside of Connector. 30 seconds. Time's ticked very, very low, Jason. Ghost are just going to have to pick a site and go with the flow here as at times tick down. Fur and Bolts to try and repel this attack. And 20 seconds on the clock.
Nice shot from Bolts, but this is all Ghost Gaming. 3-on-3 now as Stewie's route. The bomb is down, though. That's actually huge. If Stewie can delay this just a little bit, there's not a whole lot of time on the clock. That's a big kill. That might have just won the round, and it has. Sub Rosa can't get the plant in time, and SK just has to live. Fallen's going to grab one more right at the end. And Heartbreak City for Ghost. Seemed like they were going to have the opportunity in one kill. One player maybe forgetting that he has the bomb and swinging out into the open seals the round. Thankfully, Wardell's able to keep an AWP in his hands, but it's desperation for the other 4 as they start to buy up the pistols and armor.
Yeah, I mean, in this situation, that AWP is almost, it's put them in a situation where they had to buy around it, right? Like, Wardell with only $100, they could have taken the eco, but he wouldn't have had anything in the next round anyway. And I'm not really sure what the right call would have been, to have done in that situation. It's kind of one of the situations that we often speak about. There's no definitive right answer.
I think again, it all comes down to how confident you are in your T side, right? If you're feeling pretty confident, like 7-14 is not great, but I think a lot of teams would have chosen to try and start this comeback with the AK-47, with the rifles, with a save and then a better buy into the next round. Although it is a pretty harsh reset as well, right? So maybe they feel like the bonus money. I mean, the quick maths with the bonus money are not my strong suit, so depends on how much money they would have had in the next round if they did a full save. Either way, SK with a huge advantage, quite obviously. The op on Wardell still not involved in the action. Still hasn't gotten there, coming through underpass, so they're going to allow him to try and find a pick towards window, towards catwalk, and also player and connector that they have to worry about. And Stewie spins around at the right moment. Wardell, he's going to go for the peek, finds one kill. They now know where he is, so SK can choose to be as passive as they want. And another good find. Fur trying to be fancy, overextending. Wardell picks him out of the sky. A 3-on-3, and this is going to spread the defense thin.
Yeah, 25 seconds though. Time is going to be a real problem for Ghost once more. We saw them try to head in towards this B-bomb site last time with 20 seconds on the clock. This time there's even less. The bomb's very, very far back. Boltz really only needs to get 1 kill here, and he's basically done it. 14 seconds, time's ticking low. Now he's going to emerge. He's dropped the bomb. It's going to go ahead and land up on the platform. There's no time, and coldzera finishes off Seb at the bitter end. 14-7. A weird spot for Ghost. There's money on Seb, but no one else can afford anything around it. And I think go for the partial buy now.
Yeah, I mean, you just kind of have to at this point, I think. At least some kind of a half buy. You have to give yourself some chance. Just a weird situation. Seems like they're not even entirely sure what they want to get. This is very awkward. Wardell buys up the SMG. I mean, maybe they're putting themselves in a spot where Seb can drop over in the next round and AWP over to Wardell, but he's not going to have enough money for anything in return. So just a straight execute onto the A bomb site. Counter nades coming out. Fallen is the only one here on the initial defense. And SK, Stewie, you could see pushing onto the base of Connector. They're choosing to make sure they have control of mid and just playing retake. They know, even if the bomb gets planted, they have superior pretty much everything. And here it comes. Furs dropped. Wardell. As the SMG comes to the smoke, that's an awkward flashbang. You know, not even the pros are perfect, not even Fallen. Taking a little bit of damage, so is Boltz, and now they've really got to start coming in earnest. The bomb about halfway gone. Kits on all 5 players, though, and they're starting to get the frags now as they come in measured. Like a well-oiled machine. That'll be a 15th. It'll be map point for SK.
And this is good. SK, of course, they I think they're still second to last overall in the standings.
It's not ideal, is it?
It's not. It's definitely not where we imagined them being, right? Right at the start of the season. I don't think they're doing too fondly in any other leagues they're part of either. So the online kind of area of things has been a bit of a nightmare for them. Of course, every single game is important to SK at this point. They're so far down. If they want to reach the playoffs, I really don't think they can afford to drop anything, especially not versus the, you know, the Splices, the Ghosts, you know, the sort of teams that maybe are competing for, you know, just to kind of not drop out the league, right? And that's not really the story we've seen from SK thus far. This is a much-needed win for them. 15-7. Ghost have gone for the buy in this round. Wardell's actually been dropped an AWP, which is very generous.
Well, if you're going to continue fighting for this game, an opening kill from Subroza onto Fallen is going to be a nice way to start things out in this round. It's the AWP gone for SK. Stewie rotates over relatively quickly. And he'll be in position. Fur and Connector, a little bit disconnected from the rest of his team. Same with coldzera, who's pushing down A ramp. So you can see now SK, with a man down, they're starting to try and find some information, get an idea of what's coming, and also giving their players the freedom to make the plays as they see fit. It's going to be a split towards the A bomb side, but Stewie's actually pushing up towards Catwalk. That gives away the game. There's the op. They line up for him. Stewie with 2 kills. That's huge. He equalizes things, but he needs to get into cover, and he picks up the AWP. Spins around to find a kill, but can't flick down quick enough. Subroza smokes him off. It remains to be seen if SK is going to fight for this.
Yeah, Stewie's actually backed away from short, but that's just to switch up and rejoin Boltz here. coldzera's flanking around. They're going to waste a lot of time trying to get coldzera into position up on short, but it does look like they want to try and go for this. They have to find something sooner rather than later, though, to justify. And that nade, that's perfect. That to Subroza. Seb's going to take the fight onto Boltz, and Boltz is able to win it. Suddenly, it's just Visa left. 2 quick kills, and he's going to go back for a 3rd. It's all on coldzera, 1v1. And Visa, what a victory this is from him as he lines up the 3rd. coldzera goes down, and Ghost are going to live to fight another day. Fantastic stuff from the latest addition to this Ghost Gaming roster. He's going to be feeling happy about that one. It's not every day you say that you can 1v3 versus, you know, major champions.
Yeah, right. That'll be quite nice. He's feeling after that one for sure. Really good win. Really good positioning from him as well. Was able to isolate all the opposing SK players. Got the kills quick enough that they couldn't group up, and then plays the time very nice in the one-on-one to Cold. Stewie going to be aggressive on Catwalk. Spots one out. Sees a 2nd as well. So he's got the information. 2 coming in. Fallen has the AWP, but he's got no armor with it, so he's got to be cautious. It's mid-control for Ghost. They've grabbed it. But they are running out of utility. Only 2 players with any nades to speak of. So Rosa and Wardell, 2 smokes, 4 flashbangs, and a Molotov on those 2 players. And there's the opening kill. Stewie getting aggressive and being able to fall back. Flashbang to cover his tracks. Stanley can't go for the repeat. It's It's going to mean Catwalk. Fur's going to get more and more aggressive, and Stewie and Fallen are sticking around to help him out if he gets into trouble. That's the bomb down on Catwalk. One more head spotted on Stanley. Nade going out towards mid, and Fallen protecting Stewie from below, and Ghost can just get nothing done. That would have been a double kill, but Stewie gets completely blind, so this is getting scrappy now. Stewie swinging out wide, only the USP, and he baits him right into Fallen. Great job pulling him into that peak and going for the knife, going for the disrespect to end it. And Cold Zera says none of that on this team. Takes him down and then finishes off Wardell. Map 1 going to SK 16-8.
Yeah, much needed win. They're going to be able to pick up the first map in this series. It was a good performance really across the board. The whole team gelling together a lot more than what we've seen in some of the other games that SK have played. For Ghost, not all hope is lost. There's still a second map and a chance for them to try and split the series 1-1. We'll be back with that and the analysts after a break.